Hi, today from Singapore. Today we'll be talking about democracy versus free market. What is the difference between free market and democracy? What is better? Can both of these coexist? All of that you will find out after a short break. See you. Hi again from Singapore. Singapore is the country with the freest economy in the world, one of the most sophisticated free economies in the world, and also it is nominally democracy. The same party is in power for 50-60 years or something. So most people don't consider Singapore a real democracy. So you can ask yourself, what is better, a democracy or a free market? Can we compare them? And if yes, what would you choose? What is a better system? Because for most people who live in democracies, they are taught in schools democracy is the perfect system, nobody has ever invented anything better. But we can actually compare democracy with free market. How are democracies steered? How are they controlled, or the direction, the development of a democracy, of a democratic state? How is it controlled? By votes, right? By the elections, by the democratic votes. And in a democracy you vote once, citizens vote once in several years. What about free market? Free market is steered, is controlled, is given direction by the transactions, by the purchase transactions, because they decide where the capital flows, in which direction, which companies, which endeavors get funded, get capital, sell their goods, make profit, and which ideas persist and which go bankrupt and disappear. So every purchase is a vote cast in a free market. So with that you have the discrepancy between democracies and free market, because in democracies only once in several years you are able to vote as a citizen, but as a participant in a free market economy you vote actually every day, several times, many times every day. By every transaction you make, by every purchase you make, you give a vote for this product, for this idea, for this service, for this company. And by spending your money on this company and not on the other company, you vote also against the other company that doesn't get the funds. So this is the first major difference. Then you can say, okay, how many votes? In democracy you have one citizen, one vote, one man, one vote. Except you are a politician, then you get many extra votes that you can cast in parliament, or in some elections for the government, for the officials, whatever. So then you get extra votes, right? And in a free economy, the richer you are, the more votes you have, actually, right? But actually you are not limited to cast votes. Even if you are relatively poor, you can split your money and give away many votes, and you can vote frequently. You decide when you vote and how strong your vote is, meaning how much you spend. This is very voluntary in a free market. In a democracy, the majority decides about the course of the action. So the votes of the minority are futile. They don't do anything, right? They don't impact the action. They don't impact the outcome. But in a free market, every vote counts. Like every individual shapes the market. Every choice shapes the market. Then in a democracy, which is strange, a majority can force their will upon minority, right? They can decide upon minority what the minority should or should not do by their choices, by their democratic choice, so to say, or by the democratic vote, right? And in a free market, nobody gets to decide about what others, and no group of people gets to decide in an ideal free market. Of course, we don't have ideal free markets in our world today, because we always have politics, right? And states. But in an ideal free market, nobody decides about what other person should or should not do, and no group of people decides about other group of people or other individual what they should or should not do. In a democracy, we have masters who make the law, and we have slaves who have to obey the law, right? The average citizen, they can't make the law, but they have to obey the law. But then there are masters who make the law, and usually there are exceptions in the law for themselves. And if they are not exceptions, you can observe it in a modern world. They usually don't apply the law to themselves. And in an ideal free market, there are no masters and there are no slaves, because everyone decides individually, and nobody can force the other person to do anything. And there is only a voluntary exchange of goods and money. Then in a democracy, you have a monopoly of power, of violence, right? The violence lies in the hands of the state, of the generally of the politicians or of the political caste, of the political elite. So the police, military service or military, they are in the hands of the state. There is this monopoly of violence, and you can and the violence is exercised. Yeah, you can get into jail, not only for committing a crime, but also for not obeying the government, the politicians, or the law. Right? Then in a free market, there is in an ideal free market, there is no violence. There is this rule of non-violence principle, where you are not allowed to initiate violence. You are only allowed, of course, to defend yourself, but not to initiate violence. The last but not least difference is about competition. So in a democracy, there is a competition for power, yeah, for the votes, for the voters generally. But in a free market, there is a double competition. So the sellers, they compete for the buyers, for example, by lowering the prices, by offering the goods at the best possible price. And the buyers, they compete for the goods. They want to gather or stock as much capital as they can, so they can afford more goods or goods with better quality. So these are the main, let's say, the initial differences, the most apparent differences between free market and democracy. You can decide which system is better. Can they coexist? Can not? Maybe this is a topic for another video, but I invite you to discussion about that. What do you think? about the differences between these two systems. Do you prefer democracy or free market? What are the aspects I didn't talk about here? Maybe I should talk about in another video. I invite you to discussion. Leave a comment below. That's it for today from Singapore. I hope you like this video. Give me a thumb up if yes, thumb down if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. I talk here, share this video with your loved ones, with your friends. I talk here a lot about doing great impossible things in life and business, about economy, about money, sometimes about cryptocurrencies. I talk about business, how the best entrepreneurs in our world think and act. So if you like this video, you will certainly like my other videos. I invite you to watch them. That's it for today from Singapore. I wish you a fantastic day. Let's do something extraordinary today.